from hillbilly crime. You can't hide from hillbilly crime. You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair. Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dog passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound. Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines. Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't match the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound. Winter reveals the hidden lie. Moonlight, the mask that cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the show this evening. My name is Elizabeth, and this is Hillbilly Crime. We are very thankful that you're here. Everybody's here, and everybody is doing well. We woke up this morning. We're doing better than some, I'd have to say. Well, let's see. Lawsuit, lottery, bingo. Lawsuit, lottery, bingo. So Jenny was supposed to be on here with us tonight, but I've not heard from her in the later part of the evening. So she may have gotten busy. I don't know. They may not have service or something. I don't know. Never fear, because Sweet Tater is here. Hi, Sweet Tater. How you doing, Mommy? How you doing, Mommy? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me, Mommy? Can you not hear me?
Have sound.
Oh. Well, I can hear you. You just can't hear me. Turn your volume up, maybe. She'll get her stuff situated on that side of it. So anybody who's not been here before and doesn't know who Sweet Tater is, that's my little mommy. And somebody, there she goes. She'll come back. She picks a banjo and she plays her little heart out every chance she gets. Jackie Ball, all these people watching and no one hitting the like button. Hit that like button for us, y'all, while we're getting Sweet Tater situated.
Yeah,
Can you hear them?
yeah, I couldn't hear you, and I didn't figure you could hear me.
Yeah, I could hear you.
Oh,
Uh,
I couldn't hear you.
but you weren't
Now
doing
everything's kosher.
Yeah.
Got it all right now.
All right. So I am getting our goal up. One of our biggest goals with hillbilly crime is, which it will happen, I'm going to get an office, and so we will have a hillbilly crime. I'm going to open several stores eventually, and we will have several locations here in Kentucky, maybe even outside of Kentucky. We may even have one over in Virginia. That's where I'd really like to open my first one, is across the state line in Virginia. But it will be an office space, so anybody that wants consulting services and stuff like that with me and Jenny, because me and Jenny will have somewhat of a consulting service with her as an attorney. But of course, she only is licensed in Kentucky, and I think she's also licensed in Florida. So there we go. But so we will have a store that we sell actual hillbilly crime merchandise, and we'll also have my office spaces there. And so we're going to have one here in Eastern Kentucky starting out, but depending on how big this empire gets will depend on how many stores, brick and mortar stores, we put in. But that's the goal. So that's one of the biggest goals that we have. I can't tell you how many people reach out to me and ask me about an office space where people can go and to share their stories and to try and get some help with these corrupt practices that happen. Because listen, the corruption is not just in the criminal justice system. It leaks out into the other areas of the community. What are you going to play for us there, Mommy? We can't hear you.
Well, I'm just getting ready in case you get cut off.
Well, that's okay. You can play for us some, Mommy.
Well, that'll be later. Right now, I'm not ready.
Okay. Somebody said, well, she doesn't even let her mommy play her banjo on her show anymore.
That's the truth.
Well, number one, this is a true crime channel. So the content that we do is true crime content, and it's accompanied by a banjo at times. We're going to do Sweet Tater her own channel, but we got to get a little bit closer in proximity to be able to do that, because I'm going to help her do that. So that's all coming. It's all coming, but we can't put the cart before the horse. All right. Do you want to play something, my mommy, or you still know? You just want to wait and then tell me whenever you're ready? Okay. Well, it shows a private chat over here on my thing, Mickey's Mouse. I don't know if you guys, I'm not sure how it works. It says private chat, and I click on it, and there ain't nobody. It says chat with everyone in the studio. Oh, everybody in my studio. So I could send it to Mommy. Ah, okay. I got you. What, did I do something that embarrassed Smicky or something? I'm a little bit lost, guys. Who's sorry, Smick? James Jackson. Who sings Hillbilly Crime Song? Well, one of our hillbillies, for those new people who aren't familiar, or one of our hillbillies wrote this song, and they put it into an AI app, and she twiddled with it a little bit, and she got this song. And so this is an AI demo that we've got right now. It's what we've had for the last year. And she was kind enough to let us use it for the show. So it's really become a great staple for our show. But if I can find a band that can play this little tune, I'll try and sing this ditty myself. Not the white ditty. We won't sing him. Okay. But that's where the song came from. Oh, tell us about the current misinformation. All right, here we go. So, the other night, we had one of our viewers. Now, context matters, okay? The way that our viewer came on and told us what happened, she was taking up for the sheriff. So we've been digging into the preacher man's pardon application. And so we read through the application and we read through the letters of recommendation. And I was very interested to see who wrote those letters of recommendation and what did they say. So we found them, we read through them. And I had said that, I didn't think they were very, maybe they didn't discern Michael Clark very well. So the next night, I guess, the next night or two, so one of our hillbillies that lives in this area, she knew Sheriff Engel, who is one of the people who wrote a letter of recommendation. She went to go talk to him. She says she did anyway. I mean, I wasn't with her, but I sure didn't get the feeling that she was lying, because she came on the show. Anybody can go back and watch the show from 2 nights ago, and you can listen and see it yourself. She came on the show, and she told us what she did. She said she went and talked to him, that she went and showed him the video that has the big sticker on it. It's waving at you. It's waving at you video. And she said that he gagged. She said, I cannot tell you, he was so disgusted. She said, when I tell you he was so disgusted, she said, I mean, he was so disgusted that he gagged when he saw the video. I mean, is somebody going to make up that kind of stuff? I don't know, but so she says that she asked him about it, if he had written the letter of recommendation for Michael Clark. And she said he told her he didn't know who he was, and that he had never written a letter for anybody and for any kind of pardon or pardon hearing, and that if he would have written something, or if he was going to talk on somebody's behalf, that he wouldn't write a letter, he would go in person. And she was talking about how wonderful this guy was, Sheriff Engel. She sure didn't say nothing bad about him. She was taking up for him, I thought. But so she says that she was trying to help. We have her response to what the sheriff said here in just a second. Let me get this goal up. Okay. And then I will read her response. She said that she was going to record it, that she told him. She was like, you don't care if I record this, do ya? And he was like, I'd rather you not record this. And she was like, I can understand that, you know. She was like, so I didn't record it. Just to let you all know, Kentucky is a one-party state. So whenever you go to have any of these kinds of meetings, you can absolutely turn your phone on in your purse and leave it on video, and nobody will ever be the wiser and know that you are recording the conversation. If it's an important conversation that you think you need to have receipts for, well, honey, I ain't above it. But, you know, that's just me. Now, of course, if somebody says, I'd rather you not record this conversation, you know, I've respected that. But I guess that's a personal decision. Every situation is different. You'll have to make your own judgment and decide if it's something that you feel like you need to record or not. I mean, depends on what you're recording and what you're needing the receipts for, I guess. But, all right. So, back to what we were talking about. So, oh, yeah. So, let me get her response. So, she did this. She was real upset whenever she found out that he had denied ever meeting with her, ever talking to her, or anything. I got on his page and started looking, and I got a video that he put up. I guess Sheriff Joe Engel was going to start some reels, some videos, messages on reels, and he did one. And there wasn't no more ever after that. I found that very interesting. But, you know, okay. I guess he changed his mind. I think it's so funny that people think that if we have a different opinion, or if we see something differently than they do, and we voice that, how dare you? How dare you? Because I don't agree with what you're saying. But then they'll come back and you know, tell how they feel. But it's okay for them to give their opinion and to voice how they feel about something. But if somebody like me voices my opinion, or an educated opinion to beat it all, if I do that, how dare you? How dare you? It don't hurt my feelings one bit. No, it don't. It does not hurt my feelings one bit. None of these people watch my show anyway, you guys. Nobody that's put anything in the Speak Your Piece, which I think that's all a bunch of Kenny Anderson and his bunch sitting back doing a lot of that. But, all right, so let me get up here to it. I couldn't find it in my pictures, but I know my mod sent it to me last night. Okay. Okay, here we go. She says, now this was from the lady. Let me see if I need to finish setting up the story, the misinformation. So she says all of this, on the show, that she talked to him, and he says that he did not write that letter, that he didn't know who he was and all this stuff. And we were like, oh my goodness. So the next morning, I sent a message to Sheriff Joe Engel myself. It would have been yesterday morning, I guess. I sent him a message and I asked him, because whenever I went to go look and see if the signature was, when I messaged him, I was like, hey, will you look and see if this is your signature or whatever? But he didn't sign it. Whenever I went to look, there was no signature on it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, he should have signed that. Everybody else signed theirs. So I guess that shows you he doesn't know to sign an official document. Okay. And so let's see. So that's where we were. Well, then I started digging. Somebody else sent us a screenshot. Mommy, go ahead and play your banjo. You didn't tell me you was ready. Okay, well, I can't hear you. You've got yourself muted. Okay. So the next day, or just later that day or whatever, it's a chit show, baby. It's a chit show. So this is what I think happened. I think this little lady went and confronted this sheriff, and he didn't know. This is just my speculation. It's just what I think maybe happened. She went down there and confronted him, and he didn't know how to respond. Either she's lying, either she's just bold-faced lied about this, which could have happened. I mean, people lie. You tell me why, and we'll both know. But either she lied, which we still don't know, like she was taken up for him. So what? I mean, I don't understand why she would lie if she was trying to stand up for the guy, right? So the next day, then Clark's preacher man's daddy gets out on Facebook. Listen, if you guys aren't going to watch the show, or you're going to respond to something that we've said, at least have what we said correct. Nobody said that the pardon was fake, Daddy Clark. Okay? Nobody said that. Nobody said Tim Robinson bought Clark a car. Clark himself said that 5 people went down to Tim Short's and put money down and bought him a car. Now, did ARC add in car leases for their employees back before they got investigated? Yeah, damn straight they did. Now, did Clark have one? I don't know. You tell me, did he have a leased vehicle that ARC paid for? I don't know. But we never said that Tim Robinson bought him a car. And then you guys go out on Facebook and say, I'm tired of this hillbilly crime. She said Tim Robinson paid for him a car. Well, let me tell you, his first car was in 1997 Nissan. Okay, Daddy Clark, go take care of your son. That's your son, the one that you raised. Yep. So get it straight. That's all I'm saying. Get it straight and answer the questions that we've asked, not the ones that you make up in your head. And that goes for anybody. If the boot fits, lace it up and wear it, baby. Lace it up and wear it. Okay. So now back to, so Clark's daddy goes on there, and then Sheriff Joe Engel, commented on his daddy's post. So is Engel friends with Clark's dad? Is that the connection? Or why isn't he commenting on Michael's post? But no, he commented on his daddy's post. Very interesting. She says, I just now got the email and seen it. I am so upset and tore all to pieces. I have no idea what is going on and why he is saying that. I am broken all to pieces. I didn't understand. He didn't tell me not to say anything, and he answered all of my questions. Why is he taking up for Michael now? See, this is exactly why women are afraid to speak out, and all I done was try to help. I have my dad here and my kids, and I live in a gated area. And thank God I didn't give that man my address. I thought he was a really good person, and never did I think he was being untruthful. Today, someone said Michael was a witness, but I don't know what for, lest they're talking about Mickey's trial. And the only thing I can think of is they're protecting Michael. Well, they all are protecting him. They're all protecting each other. There should have been an investigation, a sex trafficking investigation. There should have been more investigation. I mean, I don't even know what other word to use. They should have went way farther than just Ben Fields. There are women who will gladly tell their stories, but they don't want to come out publicly on my show and tell their story. They want to tell it to an investigator. They want to tell it to a detective. They want to tell it to a prosecutor. But we don't have any prosecutors unless you want to go to Jamie Hatton, who will throw you out of his office rather than look at you. How many of you out there that watch my show have been kicked out of Jamie Hatton's office? Matt Butler, you can't even get in his office. He's so scared that he's next on the big list that he's closed down. Nobody can even access his office. As soon as the judge was shot, honey, he was all about making sure that he was not in. He didn't like his office anyway. He was already complaining about his office space and his office. He didn't want to be there. He didn't like it. Now it had too many windows. Somebody might be able to see him. All he ever does is sit on his phone in the courtroom anyway. Judge has to say, hey, hello, you want to join us in court today? Yeah, might be nice. Let's get back to here. She says, they're trying to protect Michael. Maybe he done some digging after he found out and maybe discovered something. I have no idea. Well, what would he discover that he would then all of a sudden go from, no, I don't know who he is and I don't support that, to now all of a sudden, oh yeah, buddy, we love Michael, because that's what he put in his comment. Why, yeah, he preached at our church and we just love him. What kind of discernment is this preacher got? I guess the same kind of discernment everybody else that thinks he's such a great catch has. I mean, listen, you got to live with that, not me. We are also not supposed to be lukewarm. You know, you can't ride the fence. You either got to take a stand on one side or you got to take a stand on the other. You ain't going to be riding that fence into heaven, honey. And I don't think that God's forgiveness for us, those of you out there that want to talk about Clark's been forgiven. Okay, I don't think that that's how that works. I don't think that you deny, and then say, well, God forgave him for that, so he doesn't, you know. And then keep getting up on a stage preaching to people, preaching to the lost and the saints, but he's still preaching to the lost. You know, that's a big responsibility. It's a huge responsibility. The Bible says, woe to the doctors and the lawyers. Well, that also goes for preachers too. They have a huge responsibility. If they're out there leading people astray, if they're out there getting up on a stage, preaching the name of Jesus, and then later that evening cheating on their wife and sending naked pics of themselves to girls in treatment under his authority as a professional. Yeah, I think that matters. And then for other church people to completely turn a blind eye, pretend like you didn't hear none of it, pretend like you didn't see none of it. Oh, we just love him. I want you to come preach in my church. Please, please. So I guess Engel wants him to come back. Please. We understand that you're going through a hard time, but please, you're such a great preacher. We need you to come preach at our church. I mean, that's on you. I'm sorry for letting you girls down, she says. And tell Elizabeth I am so sorry too. I will go ahead and delete all my YouTube stuff so that way I'll be safe. My dad most likely won't make it another week. And then she goes into saying how he has cancer and they're going through hospice and all that kind of stuff. She says, I'm so worried about him, and now I'm so worried about all of this. Which don't, Miss McKenzie, don't you worry about it. You didn't do nothing wrong. All I did was try my best to help. I apologize. All I did was told you what he told me. Tell Elizabeth I'm so sorry that I let you girls down. God will keep all of us safe. And I'm sorry. All I did was tell the truth. What do you think about that? His wife preached the sermon today, Grammy says. That's right. The Bible said we would know the fruits that they bear. What fruit is Clark bearing? I mean, the way that they put this man up on a pedestal, like he is volunteering and he has done all of this out of the goodness of his heart. It's his job. He gets paid. And when a judge is ordering people to rehab, it's not like he's even got to go out and recruit people. He's in the courtroom. So as they're leaving the judge's bench with their sentence or whatever it is that they're there for, it's an assembly line. Walk on down to the next stop at Michael Clark's table. I mean, what the heck was he doing that was so worthy of a pardon? Because he finally accepted Jesus when one of his buddies told him he could get him a job as a chaplain. That's when he decided to accept Jesus as his Lord and Savior. That night, after you've done served all this prison time, after you've done hit your rock bottom, your worst of the worst of the worst moments, when you were back there shooting up in the back seat of your mommy and daddy's car because you couldn't even respect them that much. Listen, I was an addict too. You wouldn't have caught me in my mommy's back seat doing that, because she would have pulled right off the side of the road and said, "Get out of my car." She would have drugged me out by the hair of my head. I wouldn't have been doing that. Oh, but I guess his mommy and daddy just turned around and shook their head. "Well, Michael, it's okay, honey. We'll get you to rehab." Okay. But yet we are supposed to just take it. They're shoved this man down our throats here in Eastern Kentucky. And you see, they ain't nobody accepted him except his employers, his preacher friends, all of this audience that most people see in the pictures and stuff. From, you just go back how many years. It wasn't because he was some great preacher and everybody came from all around to fill the room up to hear him preach. Ark bust in their patience. So whenever Michael had a big speech he was going to give, they're going to do an event. We're going to give him a microphone, because that's what he loves to do, is talk about himself the most. We're going to fill the room full of ARC patients. Make it look like he's just got so many followers. So many wonderful people just showing up for Clark. Interesting. Oh, we've got a new shirt, by the way. Those of you who have been following our merch, we have a new shirt out. Let me pull it up here and show you. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I put it together right before the show. So everybody knows the Muff Diver. Old Muff Diver and his wife, they both work at the jail. Muff Diver Motors. They both work at the jail. And let me see if I can get that bigger. Yeah, here it is. And we did, it inspired cartoon line. So we're doing Hillbilly Crime comics or cartoons. I'll come up with a good line for them, but name, whatever. But check this out. Let's see. Let's find the best one. I did a whole bunch of them. Can you see it? Brian Fields, the great big hope for Letcher County jailer. I love it. I love it. Brian Fields, the great big hope. Brian is really, really tall. He's a big old guy. He was my teacher. He was my professor in college. He is very educated, and this is his very first time ever running for office. And, you know, the mudslinging, they're new. He's new to all this mudslinging, and he's had a pretty rough time with it. So, Brian Sloan is the jailer now, and he's the brother of Bert Sloan. Bert Sloan was the jailer for what, like the last 8 years? So he was the jailer who oversaw all of this mess. All of this mess. Brian Sloan, who's the jailer now, was also there. He worked there right under his brother. And Lena Hensley. And there were some issues because they had Mountain Heritage Festival this past weekend. And one of the things that I saw on Facebook, I mean, it's just any of you guys that don't follow the Facebook, that's where all the magic happens during the day. Crystal, will you please put our Facebook link into the chat for everybody? If you are not following my Facebook page, you need to follow it for all the juice during the day. This is where it all happens and plays out in real time, leading up to the show. Leading up to the show. So Brian Sloan, let me send this and we'll look at it. He sends this message to Brian Fields, who is running for jailer against him. Okay, so you got to remember he's running against this guy. Okay, Brian Sloan is the jailer now. Bert Sloan is his brother, the former jailer. Keeping it all in the family, you know. And these people think if they get elected once, then they're just entitled for the rest of their life to this position. And Brian Sloan has never been elected, period. They just gave it to him when his brother retired. His brother gave it to him. So he's never even been elected and already acting like, you know, it's his. This is mine. How dare you even run for it? All right. So here we go. Do you see it? This is the message. And it says, well, my female work release supervisor and the female inmates has said you have been following them around yesterday and today. Also following them to the dumpster where it is isolated. I was there last night and I didn't see you following the men around while they was working, which is just downright creepy. We have spoke to the Mountain Heritage Committee. If you don't quit this behavior, I'm taking my inmates back to the jail and someone else will have to do the jobs they are doing. No response is needed due to the fact I have no reason to have a conversation with you. These Sloans are the most childish, immature, and incompetent men that I think I have ever seen fill a public office. Hands down, the behavior that is taking place in that jail is despicable. The misconduct, that there's a lawsuit waiting to happen in so many aspects of that jail. And I keep saying it. I cannot believe nobody has filed another lawsuit against the jail. But there's one coming. There's a big one coming. I can tell you now. Nobody had access to any kind of legal representation in this area. Nobody has ever had any. I mean, you can either hire their friends and then you're just going to have to take your risk on what you're going to get in court. Just have to risk it. Are they going to go against their friend that day? Are they having a good day? Is the judge pissed off at your lawyer? Does your lawyer have a good relationship with that judge? Do you have enough money to hire the fixer? Do you have enough money to hire the lawyer who can get in and have a quick talk with the judge? Matthew, you got that damn straight, honey. Mackenzie was a true hillbilly. She is. This has all just been crazy. Oh, I remember what I was going to do. I wanted to read this message that I got from somebody today. Now, do you remember, some of you that were with us that night, somebody had reached out to us, or maybe it was, I forget, but they had shared with us how they were strip searched at the jail. Now, I have been to jail in other areas, and so it's a procedure that you just go through when they're changing you out, when you're being brought into the jail. And what they have you do is they have you squat down. So like you're standing and you just squat. You just squat down. And they say, cough. Squat and cough. And they say it real fast, like you're supposed to know what you're doing, especially if you've been in jail before. They're like, squat and cough. And it's just real fast. You squat, cough, and you move on down the assembly line of intake. Okay. Oh, no. So, my girlfriend sends me a message today, and she says, hey. And then she asked me something. And she said, who's over the elections again? is that Kim's dad? And she was talking about the judge's wife. Her daddy works at an election, the poll place. So like where people go vote, the judge's father-in-law works in that some way, shape, or form, or at least that's what I've heard. I never told you this, but when I was in jail, Miss Lena Hensley, ain't she the supervisor over the women's work release who old Brian Sloan was just talking about there? Yeah. Oh, well, back to the girl about squatting and coughing. So she says she goes in and Lena Hensley didn't tell her to squat and cough. No, she tells her to bend over and touch your ankles. Bend over and grab your ankles. Yeah, because we're going to do a search. Miss Lena, they're not strippers. No, that is not appropriate. And I guarantee you, if we ever had a civil rights attorney worth their salt, that whole jail is going to go down. Let me finish reading this. Yes, because not only have some of them been forced to bend over like a stripper. And listen, I've had other people tell me that she didn't do them that way. The girl that she did do this way, she knew. And she didn't much care for her, I don't think. She felt like she was being embarrassed on purpose. Yeah, if you told me to do that, I think I would be a little bit embarrassed too, because that's not appropriate. You don't tell them to bend over and grab their ankles so you can do a strip search. No, ma'am. Let me get back to this beauty. Lena made us girls all go out and come in the cell one by one and take off our clothes, and she strip searched us looking for drugs. Made us stand on a chair, girl, and looked up in us with a flashlight. I told Brian Fields about it, and he said I needed to get a lawyer. That's what my friend said today. What do you think about that? Do you think these people really need to be in charge of our jail? Do you think that they really need to have any kind of authority? No, honey, these people carry pew-pews and badges and handcuffs. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. You've got Muff Diver and his wife writing and sharing all kinds of threats on Facebook. Nobody cares. Do you think our fiscal court, they damn sure don't care about me. You know, King Anderson's on our fiscal court. I don't much like Deb Collier's husband either. No, because he is one of the good old boys out doing anything he can to get a vote for his wife. He retired. And once he retired from being a social worker, it was time. His new job was to campaign for Deb. Well, honey, you go for it. So they don't like me. That's okay. You didn't like me before I started telling you to your face what you are. Well, do I care what you think now? Let's see. We are going to watch something because I think this is very, very relevant. We're going to watch a little bit of this sidebar because it talks about this creepy deputy faked investigation to stalk an influencer. You think this stuff don't happen now? Think about the emergency apps. So we've had a victim. Now she lives in Ohio. She doesn't live here, but she has been a victim of these apps and the misuse of the apps. A lot of our first responders have access to certain kind of tracking apps, and using the information from those in an inappropriate manner. Like if you work for a fire department or if you're an EMT, then you have access to certain types of information apps that other people don't have. And so, just depending on what the ethics, the morals, the values, the character of each person is, well, I think we've seen that there ain't very many that have high values, morals, character in this area.
Now, I'm going to go through this lawsuit. I'm going to go through the response from the county. I'm not going to do it by myself. I want to bring in trial attorney Adante Pointer, who actually
Let's see. We might have to go back a little bit farther.
County, California, and several of its current and former law enforcement members, accusing them of violating her civil rights. According to Ortega, she met one of the county's deputies at a family festival in the Coachella area when he gave her young son some stickers, right? But what should have been a passing interaction, that soon turned into scary stalking behavior, according to this new complaint. This is behavior that would eventually lead to a deputy losing his job and being convicted of multiple crimes. Now, I'm going to go through this lawsuit. I'm going to go through the response from the county. I'm not going to do it by myself. I want to bring in trial attorney Adante Pointer, who actually files these kinds of lawsuits. So it's a great guest to have. We love having Adante on. Adante, it's great to see you. I will just start here. I think it's really disheartening when we hear about law enforcement officers who are supposed to enforce the law breaking it instead. I mean, what kind of impact, big picture, what kind of impact does that have on our justice system when it comes to trust within a community?
This type of behavior undermines the credibility of the police in the community and the trust that the community is frankly by law and therefore mandated and required to place in law enforcement to protect, to serve, and to uphold the law. So this is the type of thing that makes people very suspicious of law enforcement when the very business of law enforcement is built upon the trust of people in terms of being able to call and rely upon them to do their job and to enforce the law.
Okay, so let's take a closer look at the lawsuit, which was filed at the end of August in the U.S. District Court for Central California. Okay, Brianna Ortega is the sole plaintiff, the only person suing. The defendants are the County of Riverside, Eric Piscatella, the deputy at the center of this ongoing stalking scandal, the sheriff, and current Republican candidate for governor, Chad Bianco, a second deputy named Martinez Moreno, and as yet unidentified defendants named Doe 1 and 2. So, Piscatella, according to the San Bernardino Sun, worked for the Riverside County Sheriff's Department for 5 years, from March 2019 to October 2024. He was reportedly assigned to court services and patrol in Thermal. This is an unincorporated area that's part of Southern California's Coachella Valley. Okay, so now you have the background, you get the context. Now we're going to get into the criminal case against Piscatella as well, but as we go through the filing, it is important to know that the now former deputy did plead guilty to multiple counts of misusing his department computer access, okay? So the complaint's introduction gives us an idea of the allegations. Quote, this civil rights action arises out of the predatory conduct of Eric Piscatella, a county Riverside sheriff's deputy, who while in the course and scope of his employment repeatedly use law enforcement resources and databases to illegally access the personal information of the plaintiff to stalk her and pursue a romantic relationship with her. And Ortega claims that it all started almost exactly 2 years before she filed this lawsuit. Quote, on or about September 17, 2023, while in the course and scope of his employment, very important language there, defendant Piscatella made contact with the plaintiff and her minor children while plaintiff was attending a festival in the city of Coachella. Through offering stickers to the plaintiff's minor children, defendant Piscatella created an opportunity to introduce himself to plaintiff and obtained her name, which he later used illegally to access her personal and private information. According to Ortega, the two did not exchange contact information, but her name was all Piscatella needed to find out more about her, months after their brief initial contact. Hey, we're talking an influencer right now. Let me tell you something. If you're thinking about how to get content seen across a lot of different platforms, we here at Sidebar, we produce so many video clips a day, and we use a platform called Opus Clip. This is an all-in-one AI editor that makes it easier and faster to cut, create, and just one button. And if you're wondering, how good these AI edited videos are from Opus, Sidebar to start creating your own videos today. Ortega told the LA Times that she'd forgotten all about this guy when he suddenly appeared in her life once again. The lawsuit reads, on or about January 25th, 2024, defendant Piscatella searched for plaintiff Ortega using his RCSD patrol vehicle's computer. Okay, Adante, let's stop right there. This is an apparent major violation, right? All sorts of industries that have access to personal information, hospitals, police departments, schools, they can't use the systems to look up details about a person for their own use. I guess the only defense would be there was some sort of legitimate purpose, but that doesn't seem to fly.
You're exactly right. Professionals, in particular law enforcement, are not allowed to use the access that they've gained by way of their position of trust for their own personal or period sexual interests. And so what you have here is and there are actual laws in the state of California, that is a felony for a police officer to access police databases for their own personal use. And that's apparently what he did, according to the lawsuit, as well as the criminal charges, which he ultimately pled to.
The key word there, by the way, is he did, right? Because according to Ortega, it wasn't just the actions of one bad apple. Quote, based on information and belief, defendant Deputy Martinez Moreno and Does 1 to 2 were present when defendant Piscatella accessed the database and neither stopped or reported defendant Piscatella's illegal conduct. Adante, how would Ortega and her legal team go about proving that you have multiple wrongdoers here, that multiple coworkers saw what he was allegedly doing and didn't step in?
Yeah, they're essentially saying he aided, abetted, and or encouraged him to access these databases, knowing full well that he was doing so for his own personal gain and interest and not for a professional or a law enforcement purpose. And so officers have a duty to intervene and to report. But much like the moniker that's passed around in social or pop culture about no snitching, the same thing appeared, at least according to this lawsuit, to hold true in law enforcement, that law enforcement officers are loath to turn each other in for violating policies, their training, or the law.
So the complaint continues, quote, through this illegal search, Piscatella was able to obtain the home address of the plaintiff and other personal and private information, including her cell phone number. Following ascertaining the plaintiff's address, Piscatella showed up at the plaintiff's residence in the city of La Quinta in his patrol vehicle without legal cause. Armed and in full uniform, defendant Piscatella questioned the mother of the plaintiff regarding the location of her daughter. Based on information and belief, defendant Deputy Martinez Moreno and Does 1 to 2 were present in the patrol car for this interaction and neither stopped or reported defendant Piscatella's illegal activity. The lawsuit says Ortega's mother was, quote, alarmed and concerned, but refused to tell Piscatella where her daughter worked. Okay, Adante, this kind of situation, I think they're very keen to suggest Piscatella's armed, in uniform, that level of pressure, that level of authority. A person might feel they have no choice, that they have to tell an officer what they want to know. What are a person's rights when it comes to answering?
This is the exact same thing. You can apply this here too. When you had Jennifer Hill and Sabrina Adkins both giving their interviews to Matt Easter, the detective from the Attorney General's office, The way that those interviews went down, one of them, you couldn't even hear much of the interview because Ned Pillersdorf and the other detective sat in there and overtalked her interview with this detective. You think that wasn't distracting to her? Do you think that wasn't just that? But the way that Matt Easter then responded to her and asked questions of her, and when she would answer his questions, the way that he would reframe them in the narrative that he wanted that interview to go. I could pick apart those interviews all day long. That we need to re-listen to those. Let's finish listening to this, and I'll pull it up and we'll re-listen to those, because I guarantee you most of our viewers now are new and they were not with us whenever we went through that file. We've got the whole case file. We'll listen to it.
Police questions.
Well, you know, when an officer presents himself in uniform and armed with a gun, that is the police, that is the state, that is the government representative at that point in time. And so people oftentimes feel intimidated by such a presence. At the same time, you do have rights as a citizen, and you're not required to answer these officers' questions. The only thing that you're required to do is provide identification to identify yourself. So you're well within your rights to not answer the question. And if you want to know how far your rights extend in that moment, you should be asking the officer, am I free to go, or am I being detained? If you're not being detained, that means you're free to go and you can end the police interaction. However, once again, psychologically and emotionally, most people feel that they cannot leave or deny an officer's overtures or questions simply because that gun and that badge and that uniform is an awesome power and very much intimidating.
It sure is. And I'm no lawyer, okay? So I'm not giving any kind of legal advice. But we can, what I would do for myself, if I was ever to be pulled in to be questioned about anything, what a lot of times what they do is they will try to intimidate you. They'll make sure but first I want to talk to you, but first I got to make sure that you understand your rights. I got to read this. And then they'll sit down and say, now I'm going to go through one by one, and I want you to initial. You have the right to remain silent. And then they'll have you initial that. And then they'll read the next line, and they'll have you initial that. And then the next line and the next, and they go all the way down through them. We just got to make sure that you understand. You understand, right? And the most important part, if I'm asking you a question and you don't want to, you can end this at any time. You better be asking, am I under arrest? Can I leave? A lot of people don't know that. They think that if they're in a room, if they've been brought into a room and they're being asked questions, they probably can't get up and just leave. Most of the time, you're intimidated, you're scared, you're nervous. Like, I don't know if I can get up and leave. I want to get up and leave, but I'm afraid if I do get up and start to walk out, they're going to tackle me or whatever. How many people would sit there and just tell on themselves? Now, you ain't arrested. I just got to tell you, you're not arrested right now, okay? You're not being arrested. But by the time they get done with this conversation, you're going to be. By the time we get done tricking you to tell on yourself, you're going to be. Zip it. Zip it. We always think we can talk our way out of going to jail. Well, if they're going to arrest you, then just let them arrest you and talk to your attorney about it later. But you're not going to talk your way out of being arrested. If they're going to arrest you, if they got plans on it, they're going to do it. Save it for your attorney.
According to Ortega, after being unable to figure out where she worked, this is Piscatella's then starting to text her directly, even though, by the way, she'd never given him her number, right? So Ortega says that she ended up responding, wanting to know where they'd met, and he said at a festival in Coachella. So the lawsuit says plaintiff Ortega did not recall giving defendant Piscatella her number, nor did she understand the nature of the text communication. Therefore, she did not continue the conversation. However, after her sister was a victim of a crime in February of 2024, the plaintiff reached out to defendant Piscatella seeking law enforcement assistance. Despite only asking for law enforcement assistance, defendant Piscatella shifted the conversation to pursue his romantic interest in the plaintiff and asked to take her out on a date. Plaintiff immediately ended the conversation and ultimately changed her phone number for unrelated reasons. And that is when Ortega says things really started to ramp up in the spring of 2024. Quote, in the subsequent months, Deputy Piscatella's romantic interest in the plaintiff escalated to an obsession, leading him to routinely illegally search the plaintiff's private information on law enforcement databases, including on May 31st, 2024, when it was determined defendant Piscatella ran the license plate number of the plaintiff while his patrol unit was determined to be in close proximity of plaintiff's.
Now, they're not allowed to do this. They're not allowed to run this kind of information through these databases to get your personal information. So one of our Whitesburg PD police officers, a lot of the officers around here, and even former officers, they post stuff on TikTok that they're really not allowed to be posting. I cannot tell you how many times, because I research this stuff and I look at it every single day of my life. And I cannot tell you how many officers have lost their jobs because they posted a TikTok video of themselves in their uniform. And their uniform, the name and stuff was visible in the video. And they lost their jobs. They were fired because they violated their social media policies. Now, I don't know about Whitesburg Police Department, but most police departments have social media guidelines and policies, and you're not allowed to be posting things like what some of them post. So somebody sent me a video today of one of Whitesburg PD's finest searching a vehicle. They were in a full drug search of somebody's vehicle, and they were saying like really obscene things. There were several officers standing there, and you could see the video. He was in somebody's car. You could see all of their stuff that was in the car. Well, maybe we should just watch it. Should we just watch it? I'm not sure what the Whitesburg PD's, I'm not sure what their policies are. So let's see here. Okay. So this is a policeman
finding one of these instead of dope.
Do what?
You got a lighter in here.
Yeah, there's one right here next to this.
Is that a big fucking dildo?
Yeah.
That is Justin Hunsucker. So he posted that video on TikTok of searching somebody's vehicle. I don't think you're allowed to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's perfectly kosher. But I would be pretty upset if that was my car and they were searching my car and they were saying, is that a big dildo? I mean, that shows you the emotional intelligence of these officers. Now, Hunsucker ain't the one that hollered that about the dildo. It was another officer standing there with him. But you see, the same kind of mentality that we saw in the group chats with under Mickey Steins, it's everywhere else. It's in all these other local, it's in all of these other local agencies and departments. So I'm very interested to know, of course, we've got Chief, what's his name? Whatever his name is, as the Whitesburg Chief of Police. And that is just a whole can of worms. That's a whole rabbit hole on its own. There we go. Okay, I guess it was wanting to freeze up again there for a second. It froze up. I love them looks on my face. Oh, somebody sent me some screenshots of some comments, and somebody said, I was there the day Michael asked the governor for a pardon. Wendy don't listen to anything they say. God has you all placed where he needs you to be. And he also made Michael prepared for moments like this, as Esther would say. I have prepared you for a time such as this. That's on Preacher Man's stuff. But remember, Preacher Man said, I didn't even ask for a pardon. That's a comment on his own post by his own friend. I was there the day Michael asked the governor for a pardon. Oh, well, all right there, Izzy Dykeman. Thank you. Thank you for giving us that little piece of the puzzle. He's a liar. He gets up on stage and he lies like a dog. Now, if he was to come out and say, yes, I am so sorry. I'm a sex addict and I cannot control myself. Please forgive me. I mean, but if he owned it, but no, no, they don't do that. But you know what? Some do. I'm going to show you what I saw right before I got on here tonight. And I said, I am going to show that. I am going to share that. Let me see if it's on my Facebook. I was very impressed. I'm pretty sure I put it on my thing, so I would have it. Let's see. Yep, here it is. Oh, no, no, here we go. Here's on Sheriff Engel. I'll show you this one, too. See, I might not be able to find it. Anyway, there was somebody. No, here it is. Here it is. It was on Scanner Food. I had to think about it. All right, Scanner Food. Any of you all that follow this or that don't follow it, I suggest you Scanner Food. I guess it's what comes across the scanners. Johnson City, Tennessee. Mayor issues a public statement, an apology, after viral videos allegedly showed him to appear under the influence in public, including driving. Last Saturday, a video of me in public was taken and has since circulated on social media. That sounds kind of familiar, don't it, with Sheriff Engel? It has come to my attention. My attention. Man. I recognize that our community holds high values and standards, and I fell short of them. I am deeply sorry for my actions, and I regret the embarrassment and disappointment they have caused my family, colleagues, and community. I am committed to learning from this experience and making better choices moving forward. Now, I don't know what he did, but I really like the ownership and the personal responsibility. Now, he didn't come out on his Facebook and start attacking Scanner Food for sharing it. I had somebody, you know, I'm just going to tell it. Marty Baker, you know, our old DV man himself, Marty Baker. So 7 years ago, and I wouldn't have even known how many years ago it was if they hadn't have said it, but 7 years ago, he dated this girl, and she was the first one that accused him publicly of DV. You know, the kinds of things he was doing to this girl were just awful. Well, he's went on to have somewhat of a, if you're going to beat people up, then 10 years down the road, when when you're talking about the long list of people that he's beat up. It's been in the newspapers. It's been all over different news networks, you know, you name it, Facebook posts, whatever. And I've done over 400 shows. Now, context matters. I've done over 400 shows where we talk between 2 and 3 hours at a time. We read all kinds of articles. I think we've read the article that talked about the first girl once or twice in over 400 shows. We said her name, reading it out of the article, and that's it. We just read the article. That's it. But yet she messages me today and kind of jumps on me because somebody told her at some point that we read that article on my show. Well, she wasn't very nice to me, so I told her to kick rocks, and I blocked her. You know, I don't think it's very fair to me. Like, did you go down to the Mountain Eagle and ask them to remove it from their website? Because that's where I found it. You know, all these newspapers, articles and stuff can be written. But if Elizabeth reads an article on her show, how dare her? How dare she even say something that we don't agree with? Don't watch my show. Don't come to my Facebook page. I mean, it's really simple. I don't come to yours. I don't comment on yours. There have been lots of people that have posted a post on their Facebook and said, man, I don't like that hillbilly crime. Well, I don't go comment on it. I don't say nothing. I just move right on past it. Usually I don't see it because they're not, people that do that aren't my friends, so it's not in my feed. But trust me, I get all the screenshots. I get all the screenshots. But I don't come hunt you down so I can comment, so I can defend myself. I don't need to, honey. I don't need to. We are truth tellers, and we are exposing the evil and the corruption in Eastern Kentucky. And we'll expose it anywhere else too. I feel like there's something else I was supposed to read tonight. We're going to read another one. I do have another one that we're going to read. It was something that happened a few days ago, maybe. One of our hillbillies had a situation, and let me pull it up here. I think she actually wrote a little bit, tried to write it a little bit better for me. Maybe not. All right, let me see. All right, so this was a situation that happened a little while ago. I'll just read it. It says, to everyone spreading rumors that my child OD'd, he did not. He had a panic attack. I was in Whitesburg and he was at Jenkins. So I called for an ambulance to come check because I figured they could get to him faster than me. They blew it all out of proportion. You ready? Oh, Jim Stevens, our favorite Jenkins policeman. You know, this bunch's best friends. Jim Stevens came in my apartment and searched it without a search warrant, held a gun to my child's head. So stop spreading your rumors. Jim Stevens threatened to pew-pew my dog. Yeah, he's good for that. He's real good for that. They all are. I think they're all scared of dogs, because if one barks at them, they've got their weapon drawn and they'll start screaming. Old Borums looked like the biggest wuss I've ever seen out here in front of my house. My dog was just barking at him 5 or 6 feet away from him. But he was like, oh my God, I'm going to shoot that dog. I'm going to shoot that dog. Ugh, I can't stand these cops. That's exactly how they did my mommy. Mikey Dingus did my mommy that way over her fence. Over her fence that was on part of her property. All she did was put license plates and stuff up on that fence. She tried to hillbilly-fy it a little bit. And somebody calls the police over her fence? Are you kidding? No. About 10 years ago. Yeah, when Mikey Dingus was Neon Chief of Police. He was there that night that they did all that to me with Alan, too. He chest bumped me all the way back up the parking lot. I got it all on video, too. Screaming at me that he's going to arrest me for interfering with a government investigation. But I was standing there saying, no, I want a lawyer. You're not going to talk to my kids no longer. You're going to stop right now. I want an attorney. This is not a forensic interview. If you want to speak to my children, then you need to be having a forensic interview. You need to be doing it properly. I know my shit. They don't. That's funny. They've got the badge. These people all think that they are just above the law. Civil rights don't mean a hill of beans. You ought to request that body cam footage. That's what you should do. You should start requesting the body cam video. They wouldn't give it to my neighbor. They fought her tooth and nail. They didn't want to give that body cam footage up. I guess they might have been afraid that I don't know. Does it catch old Jim Stevens telling this yahoo to shoot her dog? What does it catch him telling him? Why are you fighting so hard to keep it from coming out? What's in it that's so bad that you can't let it come out? Get your, you can request your body cam footage too, sister. Yes, you can. Put in a public records request for it with Jim Stevens and see. I'd like to see the body cam footage of him to see if he's got a gun to your kid's head. That would be very interesting to see, wouldn't it? He is a piece of shit. He also took money out of my son's pocket and took his cell phone so he couldn't record what was going on because it was only them two in the apartment at that time. So now I am being evicted from my apartment for no reason. Remember what I told you? Everybody asked me, are you scared? Are you afraid? No, because I own my own house. They don't employ me. That's the first thing they do. They come for your job, and then they come for your housing. Oh, yeah. They will socially isolate you. I guess it's a good thing those things don't hurt me, ain't it? Y'all don't faze me one bit. Not one bit. The madder you get, the more money I make, baby. So come on there, Butler. You want to be so offended that I support myself, and this is my job. I don't like him at all. So, but now she's being evicted from her apartment. So people, mind your own business. If you want to do or say anything, try praying for us. And also, he asked my son if he would give my son his gun. Would my son shoot him? This man is very dangerous. Yeah, he is. Jim Stevens is, I don't understand how he has, well, yeah, I do, because we've got the same mayor here in Jenkins. I've got some stuff. Like, I've got a personnel file for a former police officer here in Jenkins. And it's not so much the former police officer as it is, and his really bad record. But what is very interesting is all the behind the scenes things that were done on behalf of Jim Stevens, like the emails that he was emailing back and forth with the academy regarding this former officer, and the kinds of things that he was trying to cover up and get over or find a way around the policies and the procedures of the police department. But the mayor was doing the same thing. So it's not like, oh, Jim Stevens was doing something that the mayor didn't know about. No, they were both trying to get over and get around and try to figure out how to be above the law. But, you know, I don't really want to put that former officer out there. So I'm struggling. You know, I struggle. You all wouldn't believe the amount of stuff that I get from people. You really wouldn't believe it. It's unbelievable. I have enough information to write a book, a whole series of books for the rest of my life. But I don't have no time to do that because I have to make a living. And if I don't do a show every day, I don't make enough money to pay my bills. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out what to do. There's a whole lot of property. Somebody must be burning something outside. I smell it. There have been a whole lot of property. No, they can't. How are they going to shut my channel down? They can't. They can't. I mean, if I was doing something wrong and bad, then I guess they could. But I'm not doing anything wrong or bad. are you in there burning? I smell it. I've been sitting in here thinking something was on fire. What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? I can't see it. Okay. Well, what's that smell? Have the oven on. Turn it off. Is there something inside of it? Colleen, I never heard the term gang stalking before. It fits this situation to a T. Well said. Well, let me go back up and see what, Angela. Gang stalking is everywhere. When there, you see that? I can see that. Gang stalking. A group or group stalking is a set of persecutory beliefs in which those affected believe they are being followed, stalked, and harassed by a large number of people. Gang stalking. The term is associated with the virtual community formed by people who consider themselves targeted individuals. I guess we can see this was the way that this is being written. The definition is being written is how I took it whenever I first heard the term. Like conspiracy theorist, you know, crazy talk. That's what I thought when I first heard it. And you can tell that's what whoever's writing this. Yeah, I think it's kind of a widely stigma, maybe. You know how everybody thought that Suboxone was just awful. It's just awful. Well, do you put Suboxone on the same level as meth and fentanyl? I mean, would you rather me be on Suboxone or would you rather me be on the other stuff? One, I did really, really, really well on, and the other, I probably wouldn't. You know, I mean, every man's trash is another man's treasure. Gang stalking, I think people, it has been associated with paranoid people who are paranoid, people who think that they're, you know, being targeted, like that thing said. Well, what about when it's true? What about when it's really happening? What about when you've got somebody who pays people to harass you? You think that doesn't happen? I had a guy send me a video when I first started my show, but I've lost it. It's went so far back into my stuff now that I've lost it. I can't find it in my camera roll. But so if you're out there and you're watching this and you sent me the video of the black lady following you down the highway and you backing your car in and her pulling up in front of you and then beside you telling you that you were under investigation, please reach back out to me, because I don't remember who you were. I don't remember your name, and I don't know where that video went. It's in my stuff. I just can't find it. But so we've had people who, for whatever reason, have been the target of some kind of an investigation, and a lot of them don't even know what it's about, don't even know what the hell's going on. This guy was just driving down the road and he said, they've been following me. I noticed, I could tell. So this day he's driving down 119, or at least it looked like 119 to me, and he pulls off the highway and he backs into this little parking lot space. This woman, she comes driving down the highway. She stops in the center lane. So you've got one lane going this way and one lane going this way, and then you've got a middle turning lane that's used for both ways. She pulls up into that middle lane and just stops in the middle of the highway. And he's sitting off the side of the road and he's got his phone up and you can see it all. And she stops right there and stares at him for a very uncomfortable length of time. And then she pulls in real fast next to him. And she's got her phone up at him and he's like, can I help you? And she's just like, you're under investigation. You're going down. And he's like, I've never seen this crazy woman a day in my life. And she wasn't driving a fancy car. She wasn't driving a hoopty either. But she wasn't driving a fancy car. Like, for some reason, my brain said Dotson or one of these other attorneys around here was high. I think that they're being hired. I think these people are being hired to follow, scare, and intimidate certain people that they're afraid is going to talk. That's what I think. They don't do it to me, because I'll just put them right up on my show. And they know it. But, you know, when you tell the truth about people and you expose this level of filth, they don't like it. They get really upset. And, you know, it's just where we're at. I know you know, well, several people have reached out and we've been talking about the Suboxone. You know, it's not something that I'm proud of. It's not something that I want to be on. I've never wanted to be on Suboxone. And several times over the years, I've gotten a wild hair up my hiney and thought, I'm coming off of this. I'm not going to be on this no more. I'm not going to take a pill the rest of my life. You know, what's going to happen if I can't go to my doctor? You know, just, I need to be off of this. This is, every once in a while, I'll tell myself that. And I go through a horrendous experience trying and then just end up right back on it, you know. Well, I never come off of it, but I never get that far. But several people have been sharing their experience with that shot, you know, and just how much better they felt than taking the pills every day. They just felt better. And several people were able to then get off of the Suboxone that way through that shot. But here's my fear. I know what my emotional state and my bipolar and all that stuff, I know what that does to me without the Suboxone. My life is just unmanageable. My emotions are unmanageable. The Suboxone has given me a stable way of life for the last 15 years. You know, it's been proven that it works in my life. Now I've got a tremendous amount of brain fog, and I struggle really bad with my memory. And I think it's the Suboxone. But and then I always end up having to come to Jesus moment again and say, what am I doing? You know, I have to take this medicine for a reason. It makes me feel like, you know, people who have what's it called? Schizophrenia. They take their medicine, but they don't like the side effects that it gives them. They don't like being numb. They don't like, you know, not being able to feel nothing. And, you know, once they're good and stable and medicated, they don't like that. And so they quit taking their medicine. Well, is that what I'm doing? That I don't, you know, I think I'm all good now. I think I'm healed. I think I'm cured. So I don't need my medicine no more. What's that going to do? Like, we already know that abstinence has a very, very low success rate. Like, you tell me how many long-term recovery people from ARC that have come out of Michael Clark's thing that's been so successful. Because I sure don't know any. None. Not the first one. Everybody's relapsed, except for, you know, maybe ones like me that are on MAT. But abstinence only? Tell me one. Tell me one. Michael? Michael's supposed to be... He never could get past the relapse before, but this time he's not relapsed none in 9 years. No medicine, no nothing. I don't know if I believe that, which I don't have to. You know, it's none of my business. But when you start lying and trying to pass yourself off as this whatever you're wanting to pass yourself off as, I ain't buying it. Ain't none of us buying it that I know of. Anyway. All right, guys. We will pack this up for tonight. Well, that's what I was going to say, Miss Denise. Thank you. I know I do. I carry a tremendous amount of guilt on me about all kinds of things. The hardest thing, God forgave me the first time I asked, but the hardest thing I had to do was to forgive myself. That's such a hard thing to do, you know, and I've never been able to forgive myself for having to be on MAT, you know. But what if I tried to take a shot? Could I come off of it? You know, I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll try it. But I can tell you that I've had several friends that have done this shot, and it got infected. For two people that I know got infected, and they had to go in and scrape it out, and it left a huge deformity in their stomach. This medicine, the shot, it goes in your belly or wherever, and it leaves a huge knot under the skin. And throughout the month, the medicine dissolves out of that knot of medicine under the skin. And I guess if it just goes in the wrong place, or I don't know what causes it to get infected, but two people I know ended up having to have this horrendous surgery, and it left such a gaping wound in their stomach. That's scary. That's very scary. So I don't know what to do. That's a trick from the devil. That's right, Miss Denise. Thank you, honey. Thank you. It is addictive, but who gives a shit? Does it matter if it's addictive or not? I mean, Mountain Dew. I'm so addicted to this, it's not funny. A lot of you smoke cigarettes out there. That's addictive too. Just saying. And, if somebody doesn't take Suboxone, then what does it matter to them? Why do they care? I don't care if somebody takes methadone. It don't have nothing to do with me. I don't take methadone. But if my girlfriend can function and she can be a productive member of society, like my girlfriend does, just got her a really great job. She's doing so good. She's been in a methadone clinic the same length of time that I've been on Suboxone. Great mom. Great mom. Very, very present and active. Not everybody is going to heal and stuff the same way. All right. Thank you, Jesus, for another day being able to come together in your name, Lord. I love you, Jesus. I'm so grateful for your presence in my life, Lord. I'm so thankful that I can feel you in my life. I'm so thankful, Lord. I love you, Jesus. I pray that you forgive me for my sins, Lord. I pray that you help me, that you guide me, that you continue to protect me, that you put your hand over top of our show, Lord, and that you just guide us in the direction that you want us to go. I pray that you put a watch over my mouth, and if you don't want me to say something, then don't bring it in front of me, Lord. I pray that you help me not to say the things that I shouldn't say, and I pray that you give me the words to be able to express my points clearly, and just give me boldness, give me courage, give me strength. It's hard, Lord. It's hard to stand up and rebuke the devil sometimes. But Lord, if I have to stand alone, I'll sure be rebuking him. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. I love you, Lord. I'm so thankful for the fact that you prepared me so well for this journey, Lord. I'm thankful for all the doors that you kept closed before it was time. I'm thankful for the doors that you're opening now that no man can shut. Hallelujah, Lord. Hallelujah. I pray that you go before us, Father, in everything that we do. I can't walk without holding your hand. I can't talk without you holding my hand. I love you, Lord. I love you, Jesus. Until we meet again, Lord, I give you all praise, honor, and glory in Jesus' name, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, guys. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, Jenny will be here. I love my Jenny. All right. Peace out, Girl Scout. Bye.
Can't hide from hillbilly crime. You can't hide from hillbilly crime. You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dog passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't match the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no